Tonight, the King 5 investigators reveal the University of Washington was more involved with the company whose deep-water vessel imploded last year than it originally told the public. This week marks a year since all 5 passengers aboard OceanGate's submersible headed for Titanic died. As
King 5 investigator Taylor Murfendereski reports, UW immediately downplayed their involvement with the Everett-based company, but the records tell a different story.
A year ago, in the frantic search,
this is a search and rescue mission, 100%,
for the Titan submersible that imploded, killing 5 people on a deep-water dive to a famous shipwreck.
OceanGate Titanic experience.
All eyes turned to the companies and institutions OceanGate's CEO Stockton Rush had repeatedly name-dropped in the media.
And we couldn't have done any of this without partners.
To vouch for his experimental Titan that used a first-of-its-kind carbon fiber hull.
This submersible has some elements of MacGyver-y jerry-riggedness.
I don't know if I'd use that description of it. The pressure vessel is not MacGyver at all, because that's where we worked with Boeing and NASA and the University of Washington.
Last June, right after the Titan's disappearance, the University of Washington said it had a years-long partnership with OceanGate and the CEO, who died on the sub. But it was quick to distance itself from the tragedy, denying all involvement in the design, engineering, or testing of the Titan. But a King 5 review of more than 700 university records reveals UW's relationship with the now shuttered company that produced the Titan went deeper than the school first shared with the public. Emails between OceanGate and UW staff showed the UW engineers who worked on the contract did offer input and perform work on the early stages of the Titan. In its statements last June, UW said OceanGate had for years rented the school's pressure testing equipment, but no UW researchers were involved in the tests. And separately, another UW school had a 7-year contract with the company, providing engineering services to OceanGate and Rush.
We couldn't have done it without that partnership.
According to UW, the partnership ended with the completion of a less controversial project. This shallow water submersible made of steel that couldn't go anywhere close to the depth of the Titanic.
A year after the Titan implosion, UW is still standing by what it told reporters last year, declining any interviews on the subject because of ongoing investigations. So that means these records are really our first and only snapshot of UW's years-long relationship with OceanGate and its CEO. And according to emails, the relationship ranged from cozy to contentious.
In this promotional video from 2013, UW and OceanGate made quite a splash about the start of their $5 million agreement.
Born of the partnership between the UW's Applied Physics Laboratory and OceanGate.
Cyclops was developed with the goal of being a totally new approach to manned submersibles.
This is a new venture for us.
That's Dave Dyer, one of the core UW engineers on the project, who, according to emails, became a key player in OceanGate's work and would later provide input on the Titan design.
How do we get Stockton all the expertise he needs?
OceanGate said it used the shallow water vessel UW worked on
That's pretty good right there.
to test technology and equipment as it developed the deep water Titan. This UW engineer designed the steering system for the shallow water vessel,
PS3.
a lot like Titan's steering system that Rush showed King 5 in 2021. UW emphasized last year that it didn't work on the deep-water Titan that imploded because its engineers had only shallow water expertise. But that wasn't how the university pitched the multi-year project to OceanGate. In this 2012 proposal sent to CEO Rush, the school's applied physics laboratory boasted about its experience in deep ocean exploration and research. And years later, in 2016, UW promoted publicly
Critical milestones for Cyclops.
plans to develop a submersible with OceanGate that could dive deeper than the Titanic.
Eventually as deep as 4,000 meters.
In the same UW-branded video,
We're testing a 1/3 scale.
the school shows Rush and a group using UW's tank to conduct a pressure test on a model of a vessel called the Cyclops 2. Turns out that was the original name of the vessel OceanGate would later call the Titan. Last year, after watching that old video, emails show a UW professor voiced concerns, calling the school's public statements on the Titan tragedy misleading. In fine print, the school later clarified it had a supporting role in the early development of Cyclops 2, adding a caveat that video editing didn't tell the whole story. Well, the story university emails tell is that by 2017, UW engineers were ready to cut things off. They declined to do any more work on the vessel that would become the Titan because they disagreed with OceanGate on an aspect of the CEO's planned design. Internally, the engineers wrote of their worries that the glass material Rush wanted to use to protect key Titan equipment underwater could explode in the deep ocean. That OceanGate was looking to implement an unproven technique on a human-inhabited vehicle, and CEO Rush might blow a gasket once they shared their concerns. It's unclear if OceanGate moved forward with the design. University emails show in the years after the disagreement, UW relaxed the relationship with OceanGate, but didn't completely cut ties. In fact, in 2019, about 2 years before the Titan would take its first Titanic dive, the leader of the UW partnership asked the school's applied physics laboratory to bring Stockton Rush onto the team as an affiliate research scientist, saying Rush had added to the visibility of the school. He had ambitious plans to continue developing deep ocean manned submersibles. Emails show the directors signed off, but it's unclear if Rush took on the position. By then, OceanGate had officially renamed the vessel the Titan, and they asked UW engineer Dave Dyer to weigh in on the design. Emails show in 2019 he performed an analysis on mock-ups of the Titan's crossbeams, sharing advice with OceanGate's director of engineering on how using a lightweight metal like titanium would best perform under deep ocean pressures. Dyer did not respond to requests for comment, and it's unclear if the work of UW staff made it into the finished sub. The university says when it parted ways with OceanGate, the school's APL staff completed just $650,000 worth of work instead of the $5 million it had planned. But as the contract came to a close in late 2020, records suggest there was no bad blood. Dyer left the door open, telling Rush there was no effort to sever ties, that the university was still very interested in working with OceanGate as needed. And the next fall, Rush invited Dyer to lunch. He just returned from one of his first dives to the Titanic and was eager to show off pictures and video he shot from the Titan sub that 2 years later would take his life. In Seattle, Taylor Mearfendereski, King 5 News.